It's been 5 months since blocks of meth disguised as candy were discovered in food parcels at Auckland City Mission. And we now know that about 30 of the so-called lollies were never accounted for, and no one has been arrested. Detective Inspector Glenn Baldwin spoke exclusively to Zane Small about Operation Tirade and the wider meth trade.
What looked like Rinda-branded lollies were in fact blocks of pure methamphetamine that were donated to the Auckland City Mission for food parcel distribution in August last year. Detective Inspector Glenn Baldwin remembers that day.
We received a call from the Auckland City Mission. They were considerably distressed about what had transpired and with people reporting illness and going to hospital.
It sparked an investigation named Operation Tirade.
We ended up with about 3 people hospitalised. There's 15 individuals that reported tasting the lollies. We did some calculations and based on the inquiries that we made, we thought about 61 had gone into circulation, being 2 packets, notwithstanding some that we actually recovered from the City Mission. So we recovered 35 of those.
So in the end, about 30 unaccounted for? About
that.
Police spoke to hundreds of people, but no arrests have been made.
There were a couple of incidents reported to us about people offering to sell them on Facebook.
Based on all the information gathered so far, police believe the so-called lollies were donated to an address in New Zealand and intended to be intercepted. But it is highly likely that the items were inadvertently picked up and donated to the Auckland City Mission by an unsuspecting member of the public. That person has not been identified.
Really concerning that they are importing in that method where if they get in the wrong hands, people mistaken them to be innocently food and drink.
It happened to Aidan Sangala in 2023. The 21-year-old died after consuming what he thought was a beer. It was actually liquid meth. Police discovered it was part of a significant drug importation operation.
The organised crime picture and gang picture in New Zealand has changed since 2015 with the Australian gangs setting up in New Zealand. They have wider spread networks throughout the world.
In this case, the drugs were disguised as Malaysian brand Rinda lollies.
We were able to determine that we think the meth blocks had been rewrapped in normal Rinda wrapper.
The meth was valued at around $250,000.
The problem has always been that the replacement cost of those drugs is quite tiny compared to the money you realise when you actually sell it at the consumer country.
The sad thing is we have this ongoing demand for methamphetamine in this country, and that's a society problem. That is the deeply concerning stuff.
And so to meet that demand, suppliers will do whatever it takes, even disguising drugs as lollies.